As you know, I love bringing in guests and discussing about whatever with them here on Talkin. Today I brought in a very special guest who I'll be interviewing and discussing about ... because you'll be finding out later on here on this very episode. Enjoy!
Voice line 1. Hello, I'm Quinn, but you can call me Quinn. I use he, they pronouns, and I'm a freshman at Gallatin studying fashion merchandising and advertising. Question 1. What is it like studying fashion business? Well, studying fashion in general is terrifying. The historical elements of clothing are already enough to wrap my head around, and with the introduction of social media in a postmodern city's context, the trends of fashion will just continue to cycle through faster and faster. The development of subcultures in the COVID age made it so that everything in the fashion realm needed to be digitized, a process that led to a much more accessible high fashion culture, one that was available to the masses, but not really streamlined. Teens like me were able to watch as subcultures in the streets shifted onto mainstream platforms where nothing was able to be gatekept. I'm lucky to have been so close to the city all my life, but in my opinion, the fashion business right now is just intimidating. However, I can't say that it doesn't make me excited to broaden my horizons by studying at NYU. Question 2, what do you hope to gain out of fashion business? I'm really glad this question came up because specifically in studying fashion business, I want to be able to do my best to try and make an environmental impact. The impact that clothing production has on our environment already is one that's seldom ignored nowadays. Because we all wear clothes, but who has the time to nitpick every little contaminant or pollutant in their ribbed turtleneck or platform loafer? The fashion industry needs to rely on itself to give up profit in order to relieve the environment of ourselves. And that's what I want to take up for myself, not just as a marketer, but as an activist. If I can use this platform to shout out any brands or companies in New York City that are taking this charge today, I definitely plug the thrift stores I've been going to since I was a kid, like L Train and Buffalo Exchange, or the consignment stores like INA or Tokyo 7 that sell quality used European and Japanese fashion, all at affordable prices. But just going online to stores like Depop, Grailed, Mercari, it grants you access to millions of people selling perfectly good clothes who just don't want them. I'm a firm advocate for reuse, and whether you're buying a top from a friend who doesn't want it anymore, or even wearing your family's hand-me-downs, you're still keeping your money away from factories and companies that are producing carbon emissions and waste as we speak. Because what good are new clothes if the planet is being used up? Question number 3, are you interested in the fashion industry, and if so, why? I am interested in the fashion industry, but honestly, I would rather see myself working out in the field rather than sitting in an office creating advertisements. Even while having a knack for graphic design, I always dreamt of being in the makeup rooms, running around and helping with whatever needs helping with. I've done a couple of different jobs that each involved advertising, but they were all wildly different and had me work all different parts of an advertisement campaign, which is why the word advertising, my major, covers such a broad scale of jobs and job levels. I think that above all else, the reason I'm so passionate about advertising and marketing and fashion specifically is because of the way an advert needs to tell a story, the same way clothes can convey messages. Even without advanced knowledge of sewing or craftsmanship, I've always loved how I can take other people's messages and advance them to newer levels, making them heard by other people who might have glanced over it otherwise. In saying that, I don't believe that there's a better place to study than the city itself, and it's so exciting to see what the subcultures of the concrete jungle will grind out next. Question 4. I've worked with fashion businesses and fashion designers a couple of times already. Being from New Jersey, it was so easy to just make it into New York. And while I can't say that I would try and start my own brand, I will say that my work with designers in the past have led to some of the best work experiences I've had yet. Just to shout out a few, Crisis at crisis.us on Instagram was started up by a good friend of mine in Jersey, and I've helped style a couple of musical artists for shoots in their clothing. However, I do plan to work alongside different fashion designers and creatives sometime in the near future, as my ideal job would be that of a right-hand man to a designer or brand, discussing how to best convert their message to something that can be widely consumed. But in saying that, I still need to do my part and shout out the Gallatin Fashion Show, where you can catch out our designs in March and where I plan to assume a role in the marketing and media production alongside the designers. Stay tuned for more by following that Instagram. Question 5. See, now that is actually a really good question. Honestly, the runway shows are always great every year, but what really catches my attention is the nightlife. Fashion designers just know how to throw parties, I think. And that is certainly to be said every New York Fashion Week that rolls around. I was able to get myself in and out of the city relatively quickly, being from Jersey. And with my mom not giving me a curfew, I really took the last 2 years to find myself just deep within the New York City Fashion Week nightlife. I've been lucky enough to attend a few events because of some of the people that I knew already. And I think the two biggest events that really stuck out to me was the Marnie after party, where people like Lizzie Vert and Young Lord were attending. I was also lucky enough last year to be able to catch Deftones at the Music Hall of Williamsburg for Heaven by Marc Jacobs. And just those two events kind of encapsulated all of what I really wanted out of fashion in the nightlife realm in New York. I really don't think people do parties like New Yorkers, and I really don't think people do parties like fashion designers. So just having the two in one place at all times is gonna be such a thrill for the next 4 years.